let's talk about this one, man. We are back with the recap. Apologies, missed the Pelicans and the Hornets game. I've been mad under the weather, but we are back and we have to break down this one. A game where a lot was at stake because the New York Knicks facing OKC, man. We knew earlier in the season, back at MSG, the Knicks and the Thunder had a hard fought game that I thought was decided by the officiating, and most people agreed. But also headed into the playoffs, man, the Knicks needed another, confidence booster, another feel good performance, and hopefully a result. But it wasn't to be. 100 to 111. Smash that like button. I'll give you my thoughts on this one overall. How am I feeling after this tight game that went close? The Knicks fought hard, but obviously we'll talk about Deuce McBride. One of the big stories to come out of this one. SGA shooting one less free throw than the entire New York Knicks team, man. Makes me disgusted. Mike Brown got a technical, man. It's more so the level of physicality that you can't apply to OKC versus that they can apply on the other side, right? But we already know what it is, man. We've talked about it ad nauseum. But what can we take out of this performance, right? I'm looking at things that you can obviously take away, and frustrating game, frustrating loss, right? No moral victories here because the New York Knicks should be headed in to a postseason where they should be confident to get to all the way to the finals, right? But there's a long way to go, ladies and gentlemen. We really need Deuce McBride healthy. Prayer circle and prayers up for Deucey McBuckets, man. Was clamping down SGA first game back, right? Would have been a great story to welcome back Deuce McBride getting through the game unscathed. But we're going to pull up the video because unfortunately, man, Deuce McBride had to be helped off the court by his teammates, off the bench, went towards the back, right? Mike Brown doesn't know. Obviously, it's early to say. Has he re-injured the same thing, man? It certainly looks like it. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be, as long of a timeout on the sidelines. It could be a case of like small setback, best case scenario. But obviously, look, first round, second round, third round, the Knicks got the soldiers, I think, to get to the finals still. But it could be a massive blow. Wait and find out. Don't want to overreact as I'm recording this right early morning, late night of the game. We'll know more obviously in the coming days, but obviously, man, there needs to be next man up mentality, right? We'll talk about the bench. Alvarado not giving the Knicks as much in this one. Hart hitting 5 threes. Cat not coming out aggressive in the first half, but coming pseudo aggressive in the second half. Man, what do we make of that overall? Look, my overarching opinion on this game, man, is look, you do take some positives because the Thunder are the pinnacle. And yes, we're all frustrated. You want to win these ones. Absolutely, I get it. But at the end of the day, I don't think there's probably a better team out there in terms of depth than OKC. And we're proven we can push them all the way. This one just came down to execution, man. That's what's most frustrating about it. The Knicks had hella more turnovers. Obviously, we know the referees and the free throw discrepancy, man. That speaks for itself. But the Knicks getting a lack of productivity off the bench. They did have 5 players in double figures, but not enough off the bench, and that's where Deuce comes in. But we need Shamet back as well. We heard Shamet is on the West Coast trip with the team, so he might play next game. We might see Shamet real soon. That is reported by Steph Bondy. He's with the team, so that'll be a nice boost. But look, Diawara's had his minutes shrunk as well. We see Mike Brown get frustrated as he should, getting into it, getting a technical. Happy to see Mike Brown do this to fire guys up as well, but to stick up for his team and some of these things that just should not fly. But look, Karl Anthony Towns, man, was a game of two halves for Cat, right? And most of us have been saying all season, guys, we go as far as Cat's play is going to take us because we know when the lights are bright that JB is going to step up. We know that other role players are going to have their games from game to game. But it's Karl Anthony Towns that you can't win a championship without him as the Robin or the Batman on certain nights. Cat, his skill set, man, is so tantalizing. Periods of dominance here, hustling where the Knicks won this challenge. Actually, the broadcast was incorrect, but I don't even know why Mike Brown kind of challenged because the ball went straight to iHeart and the Thunder got the ball back. But this is where Cat started to cook, man. Put a wing on him, get aggressive, young fella. Big fella on the block. And I like that stretch where the Knicks pulled within two. That's what I'm talking about in terms of things you got to take out of these performances. Because if we're playing Boston, we're playing Spurs, we're playing Detroit, we're playing Orlando, right? We steamroll these teams if we play at a higher level, right? But it's the Thunder where you got to measure yourself, giving them credit. They should be the favorites to go back to back, really, with J Dub back healthy. But it's more so how protected this team is in terms of they can apply maximum physicality and aggressiveness on defense, but you try to do the same thing to them, and you get called for ticky tack, you get called for everything, and it's just infuriating, man. But I think it comes down to the Knicks got to still figure out the bench rotations, man, because it's periods of that. It's fine margins, ladies and gentlemen, where you lose this ball game, right? The Knicks made that run without JB, and that was a credit to Cat. Obviously, getting aggressive, they found their spots, but the turnovers, obviously, that stretch where the Thunder also made their major run. You can't be having lapses, ladies and gentlemen. So we are a great team. We just still haven't figured out how to consistently put together 3.5, 4 quarters, right? Trying to get greedy here, but I'll take 3 consistent quarters. That could be enough to win you most games, but 4 quarters ideally. And the Knicks just can't do that against the creme de la creme right now. Look, tough defenses, right? We're going to pull up a statistic in the minute, right? As the New York Knicks only had 19 assists to OKC's 21. Basically, I want to comment on this specific stat because a lot of people talking about ball movement. As we see Josh Hart hit one of his 5 threes as well. Credit to Hart for staying ready. Peter Patton as well. Hart's had a phenomenal season shooting the rock. But look, it comes down to with the ball movement, right? Ideally, I think in certain matchups like this, where it's tight pressure, aggressive defenses, best in the West versus best in the East, right? There's little to no room, man, to swing that ball around like a hot potato. Yeah, it ain't like a November night against the ATL Hawks. It's different in terms of like the more you want to move the rock, the more there's going to be those turnovers, passing lanes, deflections, steals, all of that. So when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about there's risk with the ball movement, right? That's why you see, right, if you to show this game to someone, right, or you show them the stats without showing them the ball game, you say, okay, why do the Knicks only have 19 assists? OKC's 21. Well, both play elite defense throughout periods of the ball game. And so you got to adjust your ball movement mentality. Not to say you don't pass the rock, but you got to pass it smartly at the right time, right place. That requires IQ, fam. High IQ. Cat's down in the block. He's got great position. Get him the rock. Those kind of plays. OG had a great dump down. There were a couple of great timely passes as well. But my God, there were some awful passes as well with the 18 turnovers and Jose Alvarado, man, hurting the Knicks in this one. But look, the Knicks hit their timely shots, like 42.9%, 43% from downtown. You take that. Like it's not like the offense didn't function, right? Those are the looks you want, and the Knicks made OKC pay, right? It was the turnovers, the lack of execution in critical possessions at stretches of the ball game. Some questionable subs from Mike Brown as well, getting Cat out while he was cooking. He had to get him back in because obviously Macau picked up his 5th foul, but it's little things like that. When you're playing against the best, like I said, it's no shame to look at it like this. This could be a potential finals preview where any little mistake and you get punished, ladies and gentlemen. But that doesn't take away from the aggression and the good play we saw from Cat late. We just need it for 4 quarters. ladies and gentlemen. My early Christmas present wish list is that we can string together 4 quarters consistently, ladies and gentlemen. But look, there's some film to take from this one. Hopefully, Deuce ain't a casualty. Hopefully, we get Deucey back, right? And we'll provide an update in the comment section and the next show. But obviously, man, let's look at some road ahead in this one, right? As we see, Hart's performance, I think, was solid. You know, really solid ball game from Jay Hart. Gave us the energy, the hustle, the rebounding, the attitude. You know, spraying Caruso, joking around a little bit, but playing serious on the court. I thought Hart splashed, made them pay. I thought Mikhail had a solid performance. I know he's going to step up when the moment's bigger. But yeah, man, I think to close the second quarter, captain was awesome. Finding Hart on this one to close the half. The Knicks only down one at halftime, and so I think, man, you play this OKC team versus the Knicks 15 times, and every single game is going to be tight. It's going to have its moments. That's where I really think we're right there, man. We really are, 4 quarters consistently away from, winning these matchups, man, all the time. Not letting the refs get into our heads, knowing our strengths, getting Cat down low on the block, feeding the mismatches, try to get to the line. I do notice the Knicks have gotten a lot better at getting to the line. Well, certain players like OG, Cat should be getting to the line more, but that's the officials. That's not him. At the end of the day, but I do think that the New York Knicks 3-point ball is essential to their chances of getting to the finals. 42% is a big tick against a good defense. Look, granted, they only put up 100 points, but like I said, it was a slower kind of grind game. You hold an elite, full strength OKC to just 111 as well. So I think our defense held up in that regard. But as we take a look at the box score, right, who do we need to see play better? Jose Alvarado, 3 of 10, man. Four assists, 3 rebounds, 8 points, right? He was our top scorer off the bench, right? That's how much of a void Deuce McBride leaves, and no Landry Shamet as well, right? Just 3 points from Mitch, 2 points from Clarkson, man. Had a coming back down to earth performance from JC. Hopefully, look, it's suspect at the moment with Clarkson. I think he should be the 9th, 10th guy with a question mark. Ideally, if Deuce is healthy, you got Shamit, and then you've got Mitch, and then you look at maybe Diawara, I think, for defensive purposes. Look, I'm all for giving Kolek a shot as well, even over Clarkson. But look, let's see if Clarkson bounces back. He deserves the benefit of the doubt because he's on a good run. But now's not the time for sentiment. I think Clarkson needs to be consistent, right? He might lose some playoff minutes if he continues to revert back to his old ways. But Captain was phenomenal. 4 of 7 from downtown, 13 of 22, almost 60% from the field. Hit some difficult shots. One of the best tough shot makers in the league is looking like his old self. Right, that is a positive we could take out of this one. But look, all the starters in the minus, that ain't going to cut it. Ladies and gentlemen, we need 4 quarters of really intense play with little to no mistakes. Well, we need to play mistake free if you're going to beat the OKC, ladies and gentlemen. So that is that. Now, the bigger picture stuff is that unfortunately, the run home now is a lot tougher to get to that second seed because the Boston Celtics have put some daylight between us and the Knicks. But obviously, the Knicks have the tiebreaker. We still have that epic matchup, the conclusion of the season series coming up against the Celtics. But first, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Houston Rockets, right? That is going to be a big game. I think the Knicks do need to bring that intensity in that one and try to get off to a really good start. We still do have some daylight over the Cavaliers, but there is a chance they could catch, right, if we aren't on our A game, right, and staying consistent. So April is around the corner. Couple days break after Houston, right? We can get back to home cooking with Chi-Town, ATL, 2 days rest, Boston Raptors, and the Hornets once again. Right, so look for the updates on Deuce McBride, man. We'll provide it in the comment section if we get a news update tomorrow. But obviously, I do think that the Knicks got to treat every single one of these with high urgency, intensity, seedings at stake. Look, you don't want to ideally just have to wait to flip the switch. You are going to have to start playing your best right now. And I think it is positive that we got tougher opponents because this is where the Knicks can really test themselves with a dry test run, dress rehearsal before the actual playoffs commence. Let's not forget we do have that week's rest as well, where they take those play-ins. So the Knicks might be a little rusty if they don't fully capitalize on this intensity and these tough matchups right now. So got to treat everyone like it's a playoff type game. We'll see when Shamit comes back into that rotation, man, because we need Landry back ASAP, especially with Deuce going down, man. That I can't believe our luck. Trying to stay positive. Trying not to fear the worst. I do think there's a legit shot that it's just a small setback, and that Deuce, you know, will be back strong in no time. But being a realist, we gotta focus on the next man up, because is it Kolek? Is it Diawara? Does Clarkson see an increase in minutes? We damn sure know that Landry's going to see an increase in minutes when he gets back, right? Because he is critical, man. I really think we missed his defense as well against OKC. His intensity. Uh, Look, Alvarado. In terms of Alvarado, right? He will continue to play because Alvarado is a guy that provides ball handling first and foremost, right? Macau is just not up to the task in terms of facilitating, running the offense, and all of that. And yes, 100% Alvarado should be better and can be a lot better, but he's going to continue to play because the reason we traded for him and we acquired him is because this team badly needed, ladies and gentlemen, another ball handler. So just got to hope that he can pick it up and play better and continue to, try to facilitate, knock down some threes. But if you want to switch up with a Tyler Kolek, I get it. Big Tyler Kolek, man. And also, I think it is late in the season, however. So we will see. Look, for me, the Clarkson minutes are iffy. They are up for interpretation, whether you want to go more Diawara, more Shamit. If Deuce is back for the playoffs, he completely takes those minutes anyway. You could go Kolek as well with some of those minutes. Either or, I'm fine with. Look, part of me, sentimentally would love to just see Tyler back in, and what a great end to a season it could be, where he's had some fine moments this season. NBA Cup, Christmas Day, saved our bacon. Um, he's a player for the big games. He's confident. Um, he's more confident in his shot than I think Alvarado is. Obviously Alvarado's there for defense as well. I've seen improvement in Kolek's defense, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be playing Tyler Kolek because of his defense. Let's be real. You're playing him because he's one of the finest young pick and roll and playmakers in this league, and we have him on our squad. So, if he can activate Cat, that could be worth its weight in gold, ladies and gentlemen. So what are your thoughts in the comment section, guys? Hit that like button, let me know, right? Hope you appreciate these recaps. Don't forget our live streams on the Friday, Saturday night, ball games. And definitely we'll be back once I've recovered from this flu. But we'll continue the recaps, right, Sunday through to Thursday, and live streams Friday, Saturday too. But I think I'm frustrated with this loss, don't get me wrong, but I think I take more positives than negatives in this one, because we clean up our act, we clean up this execution, and also this is a learning lesson, right? What don't kill you make you stronger, in terms of there's more film, right? More film to chop up from the coaching staff. Another big test that these players can take with them on the road to the playoffs in round one, round two. You usually get better as the playoffs progress, and you get more battle hardened. And I do think these kind of matchups against OKC, Houston, Boston coming up shortly will be a lot to help this team really shake off whatever they had earlier. I know they were coasting, weak schedule, putting the beat downs on the Brooklyns, the Wizards, all of that. Although the Charlotte game is no longer an easy one, but look, proud of their effort, their fight. Just still frustrated with the lack of execution, and I do think Mike Brown really got to settle on this rotation now, and now's the time for him to start coaching his best. Right, no margins for error, no room for mistakes. Get Cat in his spots. Feature your two lead gunners. Let the role players, you know, get behind them, right? And in terms of ball movement, right, I get it. If it's a tight, game defensively, right, limit those turnovers, right? You can't be swinging that ball around like it's a rec park league right now. This is the OKC Thunder, ladies and gentlemen, right? So we fought the refs, we fought OKC, we fought a hostile crowd, and it was within two with a couple minutes to play. So can't take no moral victories in this one, but got to get the next one, right? And I think we got a really good shot. Houston will play well. Uh, obviously, another test on the road, but our New York Knicks, let's see what they're made of and who is going to step up, right? We'll see you on the recap the next day after Houston. And peace, everyone. Big up. Getting ready for the playoffs to start.